Hello, esteemed gentlemen. Never mistake a calm sea for shallow water. Some of the deepest minds are the quietest. Psychologists say people often underestimate intelligence when it's wrapped in composure. That's why the Sigma male is frequently misunderstood. He doesn't broadcast brilliance. He lets others reveal their lack of it. While most men perform intelligence like a peacock dance, the Sigma's mind works in stealth mode, calculating, decoding, connecting invisible dots that others don't even notice exist. He doesn't argue, he observes. He doesn't boast, he analyzes. And by the time people think they've figured him out, he's already 5 conclusions ahead, sipping his coffee like a man watching a predictable movie. What makes it almost funny, in that dark, ironic way, is how often he's labeled cold or uninterested, simply because his intelligence doesn't need validation. But behind that quiet face hides a strategist, a thinker who measures reactions, reads motives, and silently rearranges the entire mental chessboard without saying a word. These aren't just signs of intellect. They're indicators of a rare mind that outsmarts through stillness, not noise. And today, you'll see why she never realized just how brilliant he really is. Number 1, he feels emotions with precision, not intensity. A Sigma male doesn't drown in his emotions, he studies them. Where most people get swept up by feelings and react without control, he slows down and dissects the emotion like a scientist examining a rare substance. Anger, sadness, jealousy, desire. None of them own him. He experiences each one, but only to understand what triggered it and what it's teaching him. That's what makes his emotional intelligence unnervingly sharp. When someone tries to provoke him, expecting him to explode or argue, he doesn't take the bait. He feels the heat rise, but instead of losing control, he cools it with awareness. His emotional responses are like precision tools, measured, deliberate, and calculated. This isn't coldness, it's control at a level that most people can't even comprehend. His ability to regulate his inner world gives him an almost unfair advantage in any situation where others act out of impulse. This precision also explains why he rarely gets manipulated. Emotional manipulation relies on chaos, on pulling someone's feelings out of alignment so they act irrationally. But the Sigma doesn't give that luxury. His calm is his firewall. He feels, but he doesn't flinch. People sense that balance but can't decode it, and that mystery is what makes him so quietly intimidating. When he loves, he does it consciously, not recklessly. When he's hurt, he processes it in silence until it no longer has power over him. His emotions don't dictate his actions, his awareness does. It's not that he lacks feeling, he simply refuses to be ruled by it. This rare emotional precision makes him look detached, but in reality, it's the mark of someone who's fully present. He doesn't waste energy reacting to everything. He saves it for what actually matters. And that's why when he finally does speak or act, his timing and tone cut deeper than anyone expects. Because every move comes from mastery, not impulse. Number 2, he's impossible to manipulate. Because he understands need a Sigma. Male can't be easily controlled because he has mastered the one thing that enslaves most people, need. He understands that the moment you desperately want something, you hand over power to whoever can give it to you. That's why he keeps his desires disciplined and his emotions grounded. People who try to manipulate him quickly realize they can't pull his strings, because he's not moved by the usual currencies of control, validation, attention, approval, or belonging. He's perfectly fine being misunderstood or disliked if it means staying authentic. That's what makes manipulation fail every time. Manipulators feed on emotional reactions. They test people's limits to see where they'll break. But with the Sigma, there's no visible weakness to exploit. He doesn't crave recognition, doesn't beg to be seen, and doesn't need to prove anything. His independence doesn't come from pride, it comes from awareness. He knows that people use approval as a leash, and he cut his long ago. Even in relationships, this intelligence stands out. While others fall for charm, compliments, or guilt tactics, he listens quietly and watches patterns. He doesn't get swept away by sweet words or fake empathy, because he knows when care turns into control. His calm response often unnerves manipulators. They expect emotional reactions, not stillness. His silence tells them he's already 10 steps ahead, analyzing what they're trying to achieve. The real brilliance behind his unshakable nature is that he doesn't avoid emotion. He just doesn't let it blind him. He's aware of how influence works, how people play roles to get what they want, and how fear drives most behavior. By understanding human need, he rises above it. And that's the secret to his power. When nothing owns you, no one can. That's why people often label him unreachable or too independent. But in truth, he's simply free. Free from the manipulations that trap everyone else. Free from the invisible strings that make others dance. And in a world built on control, that kind of freedom is the highest form of intelligence. Number 3, he masters simplicity as a weapon. The Sigma male's intelligence doesn't scream complexity, it hides in simplicity. He has an uncanny ability to strip away the noise, the drama, and the unnecessary layers of anything and get straight to its essence. While others bury ideas under big words and complicated explanations to sound smart, he does the opposite. He makes deep truths sound effortless. That's why his words hit harder, not because they're many, but because they're clear. His simplicity is never emptiness, it's distilled wisdom. In conversation, he often says less, but means more. People mistake that for modesty or aloofness, but it's actually strategic intelligence. He knows that clarity cuts through confusion faster than cleverness ever could. When everyone else is lost in overthinking, he sees the pattern, the clean line running through the chaos. That's what makes him so effective in decision-making and problem-solving. He doesn't waste mental energy on decoration, he focuses on essence. This simplicity also makes him unpredictable. Manipulators, overthinkers, and drama addicts can't hook him because there's nothing complicated to grab onto. His simplicity creates a kind of mental fog for those who rely on emotional or intellectual games. They expect reaction, explanation, or justification. But he gives them stillness and straight answers. It disarms people who thrive on confusion. His life reflects the same mindset. He values fewer things but with more depth, fewer people but with stronger connections, fewer goals but with sharper focus. To him, simplicity isn't minimalism, it's mastery. It's the art of knowing what truly matters and discarding the rest without guilt. That's why he often appears mysterious to others, not because he's hiding anything, but because his mind is so clean it's intimidating. His intelligence shows not in how much he knows, but in how effortlessly he applies it. In a world addicted to complexity and performance, the Sigma male's simplicity feels like rebellion. Quiet, precise, and utterly powerful. Number 4, he can make her doubt her own perception. A Sigma male has a mind that operates in subtlety, and that's what makes him so mentally disorienting to those who underestimate him, especially women who think they've already figured him out. He doesn't argue, over-explain, or try to prove his intelligence. He lets his quiet logic, timing, and consistency do the talking. The more she studies him, the more she realizes how little she actually knows. That's when confusion sets in, not because he's manipulative, but because he's unreadable in a world obsessed with being understood. His unpredictability keeps people slightly off balance. One moment he's warm, the next he's distant. Not because he's playing games, but because he's responding to energy shifts that others don't even sense. He mirrors honesty with honesty and distance with silence. It's this adaptive awareness that makes people question whether he's being strategic or simply natural. The truth is, he's both. His intelligence allows him to match the wavelength of any situation without losing himself in it. What really throws people off is that he never reacts the way they expect. When someone tries to trigger him emotionally, he stays calm. When others chase validation, he withdraws. When someone seeks dominance, he simply doesn't compete. This lack of predictable reaction forces people to reassess everything they assumed about him. They start doubting their own perception, not because he manipulated it, but because his presence reveals the illusions they created themselves. To her, he becomes a paradox, calm but intense, distant yet deeply aware, detached yet emotionally precise. She begins to question whether he's being mysterious, or if she's simply unable to read depth that quiet. His intelligence bends perception without effort. It's not mind games, it's mastery of self. He doesn't confuse people intentionally. His clarity just exposes their confusion. And in that unsettling realization, she finally understands that he was never trying to be mysterious. He was simply being real, and her mind wasn't ready for that level of truth. Number 5. He sees intent, not words. A Sigma male listens differently. He doesn't get lost in the rhythm of someone's words. He listens to the energy behind them. While others focus on tone or vocabulary, he's busy decoding motive. Every pause, every unnecessary detail, every shift in tone is data to him. His brain doesn't just register language, it breaks it apart and reads the emotional fingerprints behind it. He's not trying to be suspicious. He's simply wired to detect truth beneath the noise. When people speak, most reveal more than they intend to. A Sigma male picks up on that instantly. He can tell when praise hides envy, when apologies hide control, and when confidence is just insecurity in a costume. He doesn't need to confront anyone about it either. His awareness is his shield. He already knows what's real and what's performance, so he acts accordingly without ever announcing it. That's why people often feel slightly exposed around him, even when he's perfectly polite. They sense that he sees what they're trying to hide. This ability isn't about paranoia or cynicism, it's about clarity. He's learned that words are the cheapest currency in human interaction. Anyone can talk, but very few speak with honest intent. So he listens beneath the surface. And once he's decoded someone's real motive, it changes everything. He stops reacting emotionally and starts responding strategically. That's why manipulation rarely works on him. By the time someone tries to twist a story or guilt trip him, he's already traced the psychological reason behind their behavior. He knows when someone is being defensive, when they're testing him, and when they're fishing for attention. His calm response isn't detachment, it's understanding. He doesn't fight lies, he simply sees through them. And that quiet awareness, that mental precision, makes him impossible to fool and fascinatingly unreadable. Number 6. He predicts behavior through boredom. When a Sigma male becomes quiet or disinterested, people often mistake it for arrogance or emotional detachment. But what's really happening is far more complex. His mind has already solved the pattern. His boredom isn't about losing interest in the person or situation. It's about realizing there's nothing new left to learn. He's already seen the cycle, anticipated the next move, and mentally completed the conversation long before it actually ends. His silence is the sound of a brain running faster than the world around it. He notices repetition faster than most. When someone starts acting in familiar ways, using the same excuses, emotional tactics, or conversational loops, his brain immediately connects it to past patterns. It's not conscious effort, it's instinctive calculation. The outcome becomes too predictable, and predictability drains him. To him, excitement lives in discovery, not repetition. So when things become too obvious, his energy naturally withdraws. That's why people sometimes think he's lost interest, when in truth, he's just already read the entire script. This ability also helps him avoid traps most people walk straight into. Because he recognizes behavioral repetition, he knows exactly when someone's about to repeat a mistake, shift blame, or hide an agenda. He doesn't need to expose them. He simply adjusts his distance. His detachment becomes a quiet act of protection. He saves his energy for things that stimulate growth, not drama. Women often find this disarming. They can sense when his silence isn't passive. It's informed. It's the look of someone who already knows where things are heading, but refuses to waste words confirming it. That calm boredom isn't lack of interest. It's foresight. He doesn't need to react to everything because, in his mind, he's already seen the ending. And when a man can predict behavior with that level of accuracy, it's not arrogance. It's mastery of human pattern. Number 7. He outsmarts drama by offering no stage. A Sigma male has mastered one of the rarest forms of intelligence, the ability to destroy chaos without fighting it. He knows that drama only thrives when it's given attention, so he simply refuses to be the audience. While most people get pulled into emotional games, arguing, defending, or proving a point, he does something completely different. He disappears from the performance. His absence is his counterattack. Without his reaction, the manipulator's entire show falls apart. He understands that drama is energy theft. It feeds on reaction, thrives on confusion, and survives through repetition. So he denies it all three. When someone tries to bait him with insults, passive aggression, or emotional guilt, he doesn't take it personally. He sees the strategy behind it, an attempt to provoke, to control, to pull him into chaos. And once he recognizes that intent, his withdrawal becomes a silent declaration. You don't get to use me for entertainment. This approach doesn't mean he's weak or indifferent. It means he's disciplined. He knows that not every battle deserves a warrior, and not every storm deserves a reaction. By stepping back, he forces the chaos to collapse under its own weight. The person trying to start the drama eventually realizes they're shouting into a void, and the silence becomes louder than any argument could ever be. What's fascinating is how this confuses people. They expect retaliation or emotional outburst, but he gives them calm detachment instead. His silence makes them reflect, often painfully, on their own behavior. That's his quiet genius. He uses nothingness as a mirror. By refusing to perform in their theater of chaos, he exposes just how empty it really is. And that's how the Sigma male outsmarts drama, not by fighting it, but by starving it. His absence becomes his armor, his silence his sharpest weapon, and his peace the ultimate victory. Number 8. He uses humor as an X-ray. A Sigma male's humor isn't just for entertainment, it's a diagnostic tool. When he cracks a joke, especially one wrapped in sarcasm or dark wit, he's not only testing the atmosphere, he's reading it. His humor functions like an emotional X-ray, exposing what people try to hide behind smiles and social masks. The way someone reacts, whether they laugh naturally, get defensive, or pretend not to understand, tells him exactly where their insecurities, ego, and hidden intentions lie. He doesn't use this deliberately to hurt anyone. It's just how his mind works, observing, analyzing, decoding. To him, humor is the safest way to tell the truth without setting off alarms. When he drops a sharp or ironic comment, he watches the micro-expressions that follow, a nervous chuckle. That's insecurity, an overly forced laugh. That's a need for approval, a defensive reaction. That's ego exposure. Within seconds, He can map a person's psychological landscape, all from one clever line. His humor also keeps manipulators uncomfortable. People who rely on control or emotional games don't know how to handle someone who jokes about everything, including himself. It removes their leverage. They can't guilt-trip someone who laughs at his own flaws, and they can't dominate someone who refuses to take their bait seriously. His humor disarms tension before it can grow, and that's how he maintains control without confrontation. This is why many people find his wit both magnetic and unsettling. It's funny, but it cuts too close to the truth. They sense he's not just being clever, he's seeing them. His jokes may sound casual, but beneath them lies precision. The Sigma male doesn't use humor to hide pain or seek approval. He uses it to measure honesty. And when he laughs, it's not just at the joke, it's at how clearly he just saw through someone who thought they were hiding. Number 9. He outthinks through patience. The Sigma male's greatest intellectual weapon isn't speed, it's patience. In a world obsessed with instant reactions and quick comebacks, he moves in deliberate silence. He doesn't rush to speak, argue, or prove a point, because he knows time sharpens clarity. While others waste energy trying to win the moment, he's busy studying the whole picture. His silence isn't hesitation, it's calculation. He's letting his thoughts mature before he strikes, and when he finally does, it's with precision that leaves no room for counterattack. This patience often unnerves people. They confuse his calm waiting with indecision, but it's actually mental endurance. He's watching what most people miss, how others reveal themselves when they think he's not paying attention. Every impulsive word, every defensive reaction, every emotional slip becomes data. By the time he finally speaks, he's already analyzed everyone's motives and emotions. His response isn't just smart, it's surgical. This mindset gives him an incredible edge in both conflict and conversation. When others rush to defend themselves or seek validation, he observes in silence, letting the noise expose what's real. He knows that impulsive people eventually contradict themselves, while patient people collect truth. His intelligence lies in that stillness, the ability to wait until facts align before taking action. Even in relationships, this patience becomes power. He doesn't chase, beg, or rush emotional clarity. He waits for actions to reveal intent. That's why his reactions are always measured. They're not emotional impulses, they're informed decisions. People might label him detached, but in reality, he's simply 2 steps ahead, letting time separate authenticity from performance. His delayed responses often cut deeper because they come from reflection, not ego. Every word carries weight because it's been refined by silence. While the world speaks to be heard, the Sigma waits to be understood. That's how he outthinks everyone, not by being faster, but by being unshakably patient. Number 10. He intellectually disconnects to protect his energy. When a Sigma male pulls back, most people assume he's being cold or emotionally unavailable. But what's really happening is mental optimization. His withdrawal isn't emotional detachment, it's selective connection. He knows that every conversation, every relationship, and every emotional exchange either fuels his mind or drains it. So he makes a conscious choice. He connects deeply where there's growth and disconnects instantly where there's chaos. It's not arrogance, it's self-preservation. His intelligence gives him an advanced awareness of how energy works in human interactions. He can sense when a connection has stopped being reciprocal, when it's turned into emotional noise rather than nourishment. The moment he detects that imbalance, he quietly steps back, not out of cruelty, but clarity. He understands that overextending himself mentally is one of the fastest ways to lose focus, creativity, and peace. His distance isn't rejection, it's a boundary drawn by logic. This kind of detachment often confuses women who expect emotional intensity as proof of interest. But the Sigma doesn't perform connection. He builds it through understanding and respect. When he disconnects, it's usually because he's sensed emotional dishonesty, manipulation, or mental stagnation. He refuses to invest where truth doesn't exist. His loyalty is intellectual before it's emotional. He must feel mentally safe before he can feel emotionally open. What makes this behavior so distinct is that it's not reactive. He doesn't ghost people impulsively or punish them with silence. He simply detaches when something stops aligning with his internal peace. His absence is quiet, clean, and final. And when he returns his energy to solitude, it's like his mind recalibrates, resetting his focus, creativity, and purpose. A Sigma male protects his mind the way others protect their hearts. He knows that his thoughts shape his reality, and letting the wrong people live rent-free in his head is a luxury he'll never afford. That's why his disconnection feels mysterious. It's not rejection. It's intelligence choosing peace over noise. Number 11. He reads people like algorithms. A Sigma male doesn't read people emotionally. He reads them logically. His brain processes human behavior like a code, constantly analyzing patterns, inconsistencies, and micro-reactions that most people overlook. Every shift in tone, every slight hesitation, every change in word choice tells him something. It's not intuition in the mystical sense. It's behavioral mathematics. He notices cause and effect in real time, linking what people say to what they truly mean. His mind is trained to detect the invisible rhythm beneath conversation. He can tell when someone's confidence is rehearsed, when kindness hides motive, or when calmness masks insecurity. This awareness isn't about judgment, it's observation. While others get distracted by surface charm or emotion, he's scanning for the data that matters: intent, consistency, and truth. That's why he rarely needs long to figure someone out. Within minutes, he's already built a psychological profile that most people would take months to see. His ability to process people this way often makes him seem detached or overly analytical, but it's actually a defense mechanism built from experience. He's learned that reading emotions isn't enough. You must understand behavioral code. By analyzing patterns, he can predict reactions before they happen, avoiding manipulation and unnecessary conflict. That's why it's nearly impossible to surprise him. He's already mapped the probability of what you'll do next. This skill makes his conversations deceptively calm. While someone else might be focused on winning an argument, he's busy tracking emotional velocity, how fast the tone changes, when the eyes shift, when the confidence cracks. And when he finally responds, it's always with precision. His words hit exactly where they should, not because he's cruel, but because he's accurate. To him, people are systems of patterns, predictable when observed deeply enough. That's why he rarely reacts impulsively. He's already factored in every possibility. His calm isn't emptiness, it's mastery. He doesn't read faces for emotion, he reads them for truth. And that's why very few can ever deceive him twice. Number 12. He's fluent in discomfort. A Sigma male is perfectly at home in the spaces that make everyone else uneasy. Awkward silences, emotional tension, and uncomfortable truths don't scare him. They fascinate him. He understands that people reveal their real selves not when they're comfortable, but when they're scrambling to fill the quiet. While others fidget, explain, or talk too much to escape discomfort, he stays still, watching how their masks start to slip. His silence isn't shyness, it's strategy. He knows that truth doesn't always show up in words. It hides in nervous laughter, rushed answers, or defensive body language. So he waits. The more the silence stretches, the more honest people become. They start saying what they didn't plan to say, exposing what they were trying to hide. He's fluent in that tension, the unspoken language of hesitation and reaction. That's where he gets his real information. Most people hate discomfort because it threatens their image or control. But for the Sigma, it's the opposite. He sees it as clarity. In tension, the performance fades. The real motives, insecurities, and intentions rise to the surface. He doesn't rush to ease the atmosphere because he knows discomfort is the ultimate truth serum. His calm presence silently tells others, "Take your time, I'm watching." And that quiet pressure reveals everything. His comfort in uncomfortable moments also gives him an edge in conflict. He doesn't panic or try to fix things immediately. He sits in the unease until the emotions burn off and only facts remain. That's when he speaks, with precision and control. His stillness unsettles people because it exposes their restlessness. The Sigma male's ability to remain grounded in discomfort is a sign of deep mental discipline. While others chase comfort to feel safe, he seeks truth to stay strong, and that's why people either open up to him completely or run from him entirely. His silence isn't emptiness, it's a mirror that reflects what others can't face about themselves. In a world that prizes noise over nuance, the Sigma male operates in silence, precision, and patience. His intelligence isn't flashy, and it doesn't demand attention. It commands it quietly, almost invisibly, yet unmistakably. Every subtle glance, calculated silence, and measured response is part of a larger pattern of understanding that few can comprehend. He doesn't compete for validation, doesn't chase approval, and doesn't need to explain himself because he understands the mechanics of human behavior at a level most people never reach. From reading hidden intentions to mastering discomfort, from disarming drama without effort to decoding motives through humor, the Sigma male demonstrates a mental acuity that's both extraordinary and formidable. His patience allows him to outthink impulsive reactions. His discernment shields him from manipulation, and his selective engagement ensures that his energy is never wasted. This intelligence doesn't seek recognition, but it inevitably earns respect, and often leaves those around him questioning how they could have underestimated someone so quietly brilliant. Understanding a Sigma male is not about trying to figure him out in a moment or through superficial observation. It's about recognizing a mind that moves strategically, observes continuously, and reacts deliberately. He embodies a rare form of mastery, one where thought precedes action, silence outweighs noise, and depth is hidden beneath calm composure. Those who fail to see it may misinterpret him as distant or indifferent, but the reality is far more powerful. He is always calculating, always learning, and always 3 steps ahead. If you've found yourself captivated, challenged, or enlightened by these insights, remember, the Sigma male is not a puzzle to solve, but a mind to respect. And if this exploration of brilliance, strategy, and quiet power resonated with you, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into extraordinary minds. Drop a comment sharing your thoughts, and share this with someone who needs to see the truth behind intelligence that operates beyond the obvious. Engage, reflect, and let these insights transform the way you perceive intelligence and influence.